Hi, my name is Khatra Mohammed. I am originally from Somalia, but I am United States citizen now. I am a graduate of this MSW program here at Ohio State College of Social Work. I would like to give you some overview of Somali culture and Somali population in Columbus, Ohio. Somali population in Columbus, Ohio is the second largest Somali ethnically in the United States, second from Minnesota, state of Minnesota. The population of Somali origin in Columbus, Ohio, or Central Ohio, is estimated up to 40,000. So I would like to start with some introduction about Somalia itself. Somalia is located in East Africa. It's bordered with Kenya, Ethiopia, and Djibouti. And all Somalis are Muslims with the Sunni sect. The backbone of Somali economy is the livestock, agriculture, and remittances. As you may be aware of, Somalia has been in a civil war for 20 years. Now, Somalis in Ohio. The question is why in Columbus? Why Columbus is a favorite destination for the Somalis? There is some answers to that. There are some unknown answers to that. Columbus has the resources. There is employment opportunities for people like Somalis, people who came with a little bit skills, with a little bit professional skills, with language skill, without language skills. Columbus was hospitable for the population such Somalis, and the life it's affordability for things like housing, job opportunity. It was a destination for that reasons. It has friendly policy. The Columbus, Ohio leadership, the city of Columbus was very accommodable for the Somali population. Why should we know, or why should we care about knowing the Somalis? We need to know diversity. As a social workers in Central Ohio, you are very likely to encounter with Somalis. I would like to say something about, to start with some of the things like Somali naming system, how Somalis get their names. One the reason we do know that, need to know that is Somali women do not change their names after they're married. Somalis have three names. The first name is the given name, the individual name, and the middle name is the father's first name, and the last name is the grandfather's, the paternal grandfather's first name. So it is very difficult to connect wife to her husband or children to their parents. So it's a one important aspect of the Somali culture as a social workers you may need to be aware of. Okay, now I want to talk about the food, the Somalis food, what kind of food they eat. Somalis eat what's called halal meat, which is no pork and no alcohol products. An animal meat should be slaughtered according to the Islamic law, which is the use of the right hand when slaughtering the animal to be a meat. The Somali food is considered very, very delicious. Now, the other thing is that's very important for you as a social worker to know is the Islamic faith and the Somalis, how Somalis practice their faith. Most Somalis are Sunni Muslims, the Sunni sect of the Muslim faith, which is which requires a person to pray 5 times a day. Daily prayers can fall throughout the day. Friday prayers specifically is for the man to attend the mosque whenever they are able. Women can do the Friday prayers at home, but men are obliged to do their Friday prayers at the mosque. However, here in the United States, the work accommodations and the requirements for employers, many employers does not accommodate Somali or other Muslim people to go and have some time off and do their prayers. However, there are individuals who opt to go Friday prayers. That causes their jobs sometimes. So it's really an issue that is always going to be floated around. So it's likely that you encounter with someone, whether it's a client or a co-worker, someone with Islamic faith, particularly Somalis, who insist they want to do their prayers at mosque. The clothing, it's another important aspect of the Somali culture. Women dress modestly, which includes covering their head and all their body except their face and hands, like I'm wearing. Men can wear what's called Western clothes or what's it, normal clothing. They wear pants and all things like that. Traditionally, Somali women could wear an outfit that's only for occasion nowadays, but it used to be the regular custom clothing back home. But for now, many people wish to cover their hairs. So that's one aspect of the clothing. Yeah, again, I will like to say that I hope this clip helps you better understand about the Somali culture and the population of Somalis living in Central Ohio. Working with the Somali population, Somali refugees or refugees in general, can help you integrate into your international social work and knowledge. Columbus actually can be local, but still global. If you visit Somali residences or where Somali businesses are at, for example, Cleveland Avenue, there are some Somali-owned ethnic stores that sell women clothing and all those things that Somali people shop this area frequently. There's another what's called a global mall, which is all Somali owned, big space shopping, Fender style like that is included everything. That will be actually a good experience for social work students to take a look at firsthand, meet with Somali population and how they make some of them. It's amazing how they make their culture and home closer, even closer in Columbus, Ohio. How they take their practice into their own way and open the shops, and women are wearing their traditional clothes, yet living also in their American way, attending their schools, their jobs, all different kind of shifts. So again, I would like to wish you to take a good perspective of the Somali culture and enhance your knowledge about the refugee population or immigrants, and be aware of your surroundings. Thank you. I came to the United States about 15 years ago from Europe. I lived in Europe for a few years after the Civil War broke. Let me say that I was fresh college graduate when the Civil War broke in late 1990, early 1991. My family and I were able to escape the Civil War unharmed, but unfortunately left everything, our belongings, our homes, our cars, left behind. and we made to the neighboring country, Kenya, and then we were able to make our way into Europe. I lived several years in Europe, and then I came to the United States, joined with my other siblings here in the U.S. I first landed in Virginia, lived there for 2 years, and moved to Columbus, Ohio, in early year 2000. And I finished my undergraduate education in Somalia, my native country. I earned a bachelor's degree from Somali National University in education. And when I came to Columbus, I found myself helping other people. I took a job with service programs that helped the Somali population throughout Columbus, Ohio. That's when the influx of the Somali population started to arrive Columbus from either directly from the refugee camps through the resettlement programs, or secondary immigration, which is moving from other parts of the United States where families were feeling very alone and things haven't been working for them, and we're looking for the networking and community establishment already in Columbus, Ohio. So as I was helping these people through employment with such as agencies such as Choose Family Services, Job and Family, Department of Job and Family Services. I worked as an interpreter for Job and Family Services and for medical settings. I thought I was already doing a social work type of job. I was very unfamiliar social work as a profession itself. It's such a profession or a major did not exist and in Somali university I attended. So when I came here, I realized that I needed to integrate my education and adjust my degree into a more relevant American degree. So I thought I should seek advanced degree in social work. When I applied College of Social Work, I was admitted, and I actually became the very first student from Somali or of Somali origin who completed this program. I graduated this program in year 2008. I currently run a nonprofit organization. I co-founded several initiatives, including a nonprofit organization for women, and I am the head of Center for Somali Women's Advancement here in Columbus, Ohio, where where the goal is to empower and encourage women to advance themselves, to attend their families, so they can attend the society in general, to help Somali women take their role professionally because of the issues of the role reverse. Like for example, Somali women's role traditionally is to be homemaker, to stay home and look after the children, while men are responsible for providing for their families. And now a lot of women ended up here in the United States, or somewhere else in the Western country, where they first time become breadwinners for their families. Many women came here without their husbands. Either their husbands were killed in the war, or they were left behind during the resettlement process. A lot of men were hiding out because refugee camps are not many times very safe for some men. It's not also safe for women. They are constantly harmed. They endure a lot of difficulties. However, women make through to help their family to stay. They develop a lot of resilience. So in that case, many Somali women become what is called female household here in the US for the first time, which includes taking the responsibility of working outside home, earning some income to provide for the family, while they are not omitted helping their children at home, doing all housework. So that's been very difficult. So women like me, who is better educated, find ourselves in helping those women attain these goals. Somalia has been in a civil war for more than 20 years now. The civil war erupted 1991, early 1991 or late 1990, when civil unrest started and opposition groups formed to oust the long time military regime. And after the war broke, and armed oppositions were formed and started fighting with the government arm. They were able to defeat and oust the government, including the president at the time. When the capital of Somalia, Mogadishu, fall into the arms of the opposition groups, which were militias formed by former leaders, the things turned ugly. There was no any conclusive plan to put something together, and there was no effective government since then. People started fighting each other based on a clan system. Power struggle started, and the fighting took off, and the Somalia was off of open civil war, and that resulted a large scale of immigration for Somali population from the south to the central. People fled to the neighboring countries looking for peace. People went to Kenya, to Ethiopia mainly, and the civil war will continue, and the fighting will go on, and there was no winner, and there was no established government since then. And then what happened is world interjected. Late 1992 or early 1993, there was a humanitarian catastrophe. There was a famine declared in Somalia, especially in southern Somalia. A large population of refugees went into Kenya. 1 million people went refugee in Kenya, and approximately almost 500,000 of people have died for the famine at the time. And world responded to a massive what's called Restore of Hope mission led by the United States. United States government sent 30,000 of its own troops to Somalia. Those American army, with the support of international community, went to Somalia to save the lives. However, things didn't work well between the warlords then and the international peacekeeping force, or the Restore Hope mission. So the mission failed because the United States pulled back when 18 American Rangers were killed in Mogadishu, and actually their body was dragged in the streets of Mogadishu by angry mob who just understood America was invading their country rather than helping and saving lives. And then since then, Somalia has been a difficult situation. There hasn't been any success of restoring reliable government, a functioning government. There's what's called now transitional federal government for the last 8-9 years that's been in and off. The diaspora community now is going back to help, to provide some help. There are now things even get worse for the last few years. There are these Islamist radical groups called Al-Shabaab who are now in control of some parts of Somalia, who are like Taliban style, like who took the things even worse. And then last summer, July of 2011, again, United Nations declared famine in Somalia for the second time in 2 decades. And 30,000 to 40,000 children have died since. This famine called the famine of children. And then again, world was trying to help with the difficulties. Okay, now let's talk about some of the challenges that Somalis as refugees or newcomers face once resettled in the United States. Number one, language and cultural barriers are on the way. When people lived in the refugee camps for a long period of time, and they have endured a lot of difficulties. They have had some harsh accommodations, life accommodations. When they win resettlement program, and they are told they are going to be resettled somewhere in the United States, whether they have a sponsor, which is reuniting with the family, or just getting the visa or the resettlement offer from the United States government directly. The hope and the assumption is that all difficulties and all problems were done. They are now going to live in a free world and a wealthy life, and they will forget what they have endured. But when they land in here, what they don't know is they have challenges ahead. We call here challenges. We don't usually say problems, because the problems they were in are not comparable with life in the U.S. Of course, first and foremost, they are a safe environment. They are in a rule of law. They are protected, and they can live normal lives with their effort to make some living on their own. So what happens is, when someone is a refugee, come here through refugee status, they here for the first 8 months, government programs offer money and housing. And if the family has independent children, they can earn housing, subsidized housing. If individuals, whether they are family or single status, they can get up to $800 per month for the first 8 months. After 8 months, this benefits or entitlements will end. They're no longer eligible under these programs by the law. After the welfare reform, the 1996 welfare reform, there is a portion of that law that bans refugees from getting public benefit, but only the first 8 months. After 8 months, here is someone who does not speak the language, who does not own a car, who doesn't know their way around the city, or not familiar with their surroundings, and they have to find a job. They have to retain the job. It's not easy to find a job while you don't speak the language. They don't come with skills. Most often they don't have skills, professional skills. and what they look for is low-level elementary job levels, and that's not easy to find. So those are the challenges. Some of the challenges they meet, and also what's mentionable is people have what's called PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, that is not that's very prevalent in the refugee population, but that does not affect them, or that does not seen in them until they come here in the U.S. and they meet the challenges they meet to make a life, and that's when people don't do well. So the challenges are many, but those are some of the substantial ones. No language skills, no other working skills, with the PTSD hidden in the person's feeling that is not going to be easily detected. So the challenges are many. So as a social workers, it's one factor that you need to consider while working with a client of that background. Think of the person's background, what they have been endured, what is the person's environment, and not just that someone just needs help with housing, someone needs help with the language assistance, but also the mental status of the individual or your client. Okay, now one other thing that I would like to share, that I think it's important, is that also not all Somali women or Somali population are refugees, or are behind the culture, or have barriers to the access for the lives. There are distinguishments between professionals and people who don't have formal education. Although when one looks at me, thinks same thing for all Somalis. There are differences between Somali people, particularly women. We all look alike. We dress the same. We all speak the same language, but people have different life experiences. There are women who are educators. There are women who are professionals. Among Somali women here in Central Ohio, there are social workers, someone like me, who holds a degree, or people from other disciplines who have a master's degree, who attended doctoral programs. Even there are medical doctors, a lot of nurses, and however, someone who is unaware of the diversity within the Somali population here in Columbus, Ohio, can think of all the same. May think that all Somali women are illiterate, don't speak the language, don't know really anything about the American culture, or cannot be professionals. For instance, let me share a personal experience, a little incident that I encountered here in Ohio State College of Social Work, this very building now I'm sitting. When I first started this program, I think I was the only Somalian student at the time. There were a couple other students, one male, one female, who tried to do the program, but they were unsuccessful. The first semester they were gone. So I was here for a long time, and I did the 4-year program, which I call it the forever program at time. But it took me so long. And what happens is, one day I was going to the student to lunch, the basement of the building, this Stillman Hall, and it was between bricks, and there was no anybody else around. There were no students, and I was checking my mailbox, and I was new to the college. I wasn't sure my way back, which way I go. When I checked in my student mailbox, I came back, and what happens is a gentleman who worked with the janitorial services, with the cleaning services of the building, or high state university in general, was there. And when he looked at me, he started talking to me. He pointed at the cleaning, or the cleaning equipment that was there, and he thought I was looking for that. He said, "This is your thing. Are you looking for this?" And as I walked towards him and came closer to him, and he was standing on my way, I was a little bit not sure what's going on, and I said, "Excuse me," and he was expecting me not to understand what he's saying, so he was trying to help me find what he thought I was looking for, which was the cleaning equipment there. And he pointed at it and he said, "This is yours, this is yours." He was trying to minimize the verbal conversation and just directed me to the equipment which he thought I was looking for. But I was looking for my way back to upstairs. So I went the wrong direction. That's where I met him. And for a minute, I didn't understand what he was saying, or what he wanted me, what he needed from me. And a couple of times I said, "Excuse me," and I said, then I realized this is what he is pointing at me. Because I know a lot of things, and I have things in my mind. I help a lot of women in my background. I know many Somalian women hold cleaning jobs throughout the university building, the medical center, the university, other buildings, and Ohio State campus. So it's very usual to see that late afternoon a Somalian women dressed like me, look like me, pushing this car, the cleaning car. Now I get the right word, the cleaning car. So he thought maybe she's one of them assigned in this building today. I was lost. So when I realized that, I said, "Oh no, I'm not looking for this." And he was like what do you need? Something like that. He was offering help, I think. And I said, "Oh no, I'm a student." And I could tell the guy froze. And he was like, "Oh, are you?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm a student." So I know by the look, that's my profile in this city. I am Somalian woman. But among Somalian women, there are professionals, including medical doctors, social workers like me, again nurses, teachers, school teachers, and everybody else. So as social workers, you may also need to have that kind of information with you. So when approaching someone, whether you encounter in a casual way or you are helping them as a client, don't just go by the assumption that those people are refugees. They will not understand you. Just start with something like, "Do you speak English?" Or just say everything in English with the assumption that they are all Americans, just wearing different clothes.